Hello everyone, and it's Ventures Pro Anna here again with you with Facebook Live. And today we have a very special guest. We have Greg Hilker, who is the general manager of the J.B. Duke Hotel. And I'm going to, as I was saying, we have Greg with us today, and he's going to tell us a little bit about the J.B. Duke Hotel and some of the special features of it, and a little bit about his background. Greg, if you could, just give us an introduction of yourself and then tell us some wonderful things about the hotel.
Hi, Anna, and thank you for inviting me to this today. So my name is Greg Hilker, as Anna has said. I'm the general manager here at the J.B. Duke Hotel. We are a full-service hotel. Lots of details to follow on that, but my background, just quickly, is I grew up working in the culinary side of things. I was the chef for many years, and worked as a chef even at this property in its a different capacity in the previous state, and then came back to be the general manager for this brand new facility that we have now. And I look forward to telling a little bit about our story here today.
That is awesome. Could you tell us, say, maybe the top 3 features of your hotel that you think sets you apart from other hotels in the area?
Sure. I think one of those features would be the fact that we are on Duke's campus here. We're in the Research Triangle Park area here in Durham, North Carolina. And being part of Duke University is really special to us. We're here for the university. We're owned by the university. And so it's really a great place to come and visit, look at the campus, and be part of a bigger thing that's going on besides our hotel only. The other features of our hotel that I think set us apart is we are a full-service conference center as well. So we offer nearly 21,000 square feet of meeting space, which a lot of people don't know we have. And that ranges from a boardroom that I'm sitting in here that can seat a nice, comfortable 16 people, to an auditorium of 65, to a ballroom of 350. So we have some really great spaces, all from 0 to 300 plus. And then, one of the other features of the hotel is we're very contemporary, and there's not a lot of contemporary hotels in our markets here, and being full service and contemporary at the same time, I think, sets us a little bit differently than some of the traditional hotels that are out there.
That's a very good point, because you're absolutely right. I'm in the greater Orlando area, and even in this area, you don't find a lot of the hotels that are more contemporary. And so I take note of it when I'm at one. How difficult is it, and I'm thinking of in terms of with Duke and a lot of the parents, football, basketball season, all that sort of stuff, how difficult is it to get a reservation there?
So we have that little sport called basketball here that I think a lot of people know about Duke. It is difficult on some of those games, especially when we're playing the University of North Carolina right down the street. That's a big deal. But typically, we being that we've only been open 10 months, we have availability, and we really partner with Duke to make sure that we can get a lot of the guests and participants coming to the campus and looking for that atmosphere of athletics in general. Mm-hmm. We've had a good experience with the recent football games, and now that basketball season is really just beginning, it's kind of exciting for us. We think we're going to have a lot of fun atmosphere and crowds coming in through. We are literally right across the street from athletics, so you can walk out our front door, and within a couple hundred yards, you're in Cameron Indoor Stadium for the basketball events. So pretty amazing location.
That is a very amazing location. I grew up in the South, so listen, sports is my social life, And I'm a former basketball coach, so I know all about Duke University and basketball.
I bet you do.
Very good program, very good program. Now, as far as being a general manager of a hotel, what would you say would be your number one tip or piece of advice that you would give someone that's, say, first starting out at being a general manager of a hotel?
I think this will probably be funny to some people that know me, but you have to have a lot of patience. Every day is being like dealing with cards where you're dealt a new hand every day, and you don't know what's always going to be thrown your way. A lot of times it's putting out fires and putting out guest concerns, that you don't realize are happening until they're in your face. And so having patience and having understanding, it's easy to say we're all hospitable, but I think that means something different to a lot of people. And when you're in the business, you want to be treated like you like to be treated and treat others the same way. So there's the key component of patience that always comes into play for a lot of different things, from employee interactions to guest interactions. So I think that's my number one advice to others that are starting in this business is look at it from a little different perspective and have that patience.
That's very good advice. And I especially like how you also emphasize that you're going to be doing a lot of different things at one time, because some people don't deal with that well. They want to just focus on that one job.
Sure. Prioritizing and having that priority of your day. Things are always going to leapfrog over other priorities, and so it's reevaluating as you go throughout your day. I think that makes the job that much more interesting and fun for me, because it's never the same day twice, and that's a blast, and part of the reason why I love being in this business.
And you said you started as a chef. As I've gotten to know some of the Southern Innkeeper owners, general managers, and so forth, I found that most of you started out somewhere like that, and you worked your way up. And I think that's good, because one, it gives you an understanding of how things operate. But two, when you're doing things like being a chef or being a server, whatever in the hotel, you're having to deal with lots of different things. And so that's great. I was glad to hear that and to learn about some of the people's experiences with that and all.
Absolutely. It's a lot of folks in the general management position go through more of the sales end of things and not so much of the operations. I feel like the operations side really has set me up for success on understanding what my employees go through and what the day looks like from an operations standpoint, and what challenges they may be facing each day.
I totally agree with that. Now, what does your hotel use for marketing? What mediums does it use?
From our mediums, we have a great sales and marketing team, and we, I'd be remiss if I didn't add that during this interview that we are part of the Washington Duke Inn and Golf Club, which is directly across the street from us, so a really close proximity, and we work in tandem together, 2 properties for the one university here at Duke. And we have a great sales team and marketing team that helps us drive different lines of our business. A lot of different mediums. So we've used a couple different sources through Facebook and social media, as well as what we're doing here today. And I think we're still gaining some details on those and understanding what works best for us besides the normal print material. Being that we're a contemporary hotel on the university campus, print material doesn't really work for our clientele. A lot of our folks aren't opening a magazine looking for that one-page ad that we put in there. So we're doing some things that are more electronic and really looking for that source of marketing.
Yeah, that's a good point, because your hotel is a bit different from some of the others in that you are there on the campus and all. And so with Facebook, have you had a lot of success with that in driving people to your website or, your hotel?
At this stage, I would say no. And I think we always can do a better job at that. I think we just have recently put some people in place that really make extra effort to post things. And really, that's all about driving some content into those fields. And so now that we're doing that, we're seeing that start to develop a little better and get a little more traction from it.
Oh, that's great. Well, plus, how long has your hotel been open?
Just 10 months. So
yeah, I was going to say you're fairly new at everything. So trying to get everything in place. Now, does your hotel use Pinterest? I have to ask that question.
I know that's a great question coming from you. Currently, we do very little on it. We do a few postings and photos, but we're not doing what I would consider enough to drive some of that social side of things.
Okay, now this is for my information. Don't think I'm putting you on the spot. But why have you not pursued Pinterest? I'm trying to learn here is what I'm trying to do.
Sure. Well, I will be the first to admit that I am not a social media user, and so for me, it's more of an understanding in the technology side of things of someone else telling me how to use it. And so if somebody was there to tell me and show me what we would drive from it, I'd probably use it differently. But because I just sort of put it out of my mindset because it's not something I'm currently focused on.
It's not a front burner.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, I'm just curious because I like asking people that question because, of course, it helps me. It gives me better insight. Because Pinterest is such, and I'm not saying it's just because I do Pinterest, but it's such a good tool for people in the travel industry because people are planning trips on Pinterest and they're in that aspiration stage. Well, that's great. Well, is there any special events that are going on at your hotel that you'd like to tell everyone about?
It's a great question as well. We actually are doing a couple things right now where we do some live jazz. We actually used John Brown, his ensemble here at Duke University, and coincidentally, he's a JV as well as John Brown and JV Duke Hotel. So we paired up with him, and on Thursday nights we do a jazz club here in our dining area. And then on Fridays we do happy hour jazz in our lobby lounge, which has been really, really popular. So it's a great way to end your week. A lot of professors and different folks from the university stop by, and we're starting to garner some interest from our local market too, our local folks that come over and just want to hear some jazz and have a cocktail and wind out the week in a nice atmosphere here in our lobby lounge.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, like you say, especially for the local people to come and enjoy it also, because at the end of the week, you want to just kind of relax and forget about everything. That's awesome. And then, of course, the fact that you have the golf course, that's connected with you. So you have a lot going on there, Well, is there anything else you would like to add before we close out today?
No, I just think, I always like to just reiterate our facts of the hotel. We're owned by the university. We're the JV Duke Hotel. We have right at 200 rooms, 198 to be exact. Don't want to over-exaggerate. And like I said earlier, we have a lot of meeting space, from all different angles of our guests that come here. A lot of options for anybody that's looking to host a meeting or just come and stay at the university. It's a wonderful place to be.
Do you do wedding receptions? Many of those there?
We do. We've hosted several weddings since we've been open, and now that the university's chapel has been renovated over the last year, it's open now, and we're seeing a lot more inquiries for weddings. So it's an exciting time for us because you can walk to the chapel literally down the road from us. So. Oh,
that's perfect. That is perfect.
Perfect setup for social events.
And people are always looking for great places to have their weddings, receptions, and so forth. What about local high school proms? Do you do any of that?
We don't. That's something that's a little bit more challenging for us. Being on the campus, even with undergraduate activities, it's a little more challenging for us just because of the logistics of underage drinking and some other things that go in a hotel setting. So we don't steer away from them necessarily, but we don't get a lot of inquiries either because we're not really in that market for that venue. Usually it's price sensitive as well, and so for us it's a little bit more challenging to fit their model of what they're looking for.
Being a former teacher, that's why I asked that question, because I know that with where my school is located, we're on the opposite side of Disney, but we usually had to have our proms at Disney because those were the only hotels that had ballrooms large enough to seat everyone.
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's why I was worried. But I can see where, especially with you being on the campus, that would be a problem.
It could be, and we
having dealt with it.
That's right. Excellent.
Well, thank you so much, Greg. I appreciate it. And what I will do is I will put y'all's website information on my Facebook page under the interview here, and that way people can go and they can check it out. And I really appreciate you being with us today and doing the interview with me. And so I will close out now. And thank you, everyone, for being here with us. And don't forget that I'll be here tomorrow night at 7 p.m. and I'll be demonstrating something on Pinterest to kind of show you how it all works. So thank you again, and for now, I'm going to travel on down the Pinterest Superhighway.